Oh hey, I'm a bee now, and I'm here to talk to you about Beehive Bedlam. Well, what if I told you that there was actually a sequel to Beehive Bedlam? That's right, Beehive Bedlam 2, and the bees have been keeping it from us. So that's why I'm here, to take it back. I've got it. Ah, Beehive Bedlam 2. Wait, what's that noise? Ah! I'm one of you! I'm one of you! I know you all love Beehive Bedlam, and I'm sure we all have fond memories of playing it during the adverts between episodes of SpongeBob and Nicktoons. Maybe you even still play Beehive Bedlam using the app. But maybe you finished the 1800 levels in that app. Jesus, that's insane. But let's say you've somehow finished all those levels and still want more Beehive Bedlam. Or perhaps you've just grown a little bit tired of Beehive Bedlam and are looking for something a bit newer. If so, do I have the answer for you? Because did you know that there was originally a sequel to Beehive Bedlam which was pretty much finished and never released and has laid dormant all these years until today? So join me as we uncover the truth of Beehive Bedlam 2. Okay, so first thing, this game isn't actually called Beehive Bedlam 2. It's just Beehive Bedlam. The game was originally produced by everyone's favourite company, Denki, the guys who are kindly making all their Sky games available again. And while converting all these old games, Denki employee Aaron came across the files for a Beehive Bedlam game that was never actually released, saying Sky wanted to update the original and give it more polish like we did for Bust a Move, and some sort of loose story and progression. The main thing though was that they wanted to charge for the new version, and then at the last minute balked at the idea at charging for their most successful game, which had previously been free. So they chose not to release it. I think they decided that when we hit Beta 1.0. For those of you who don't know, including me, Aaron explained that Beta 1.0 was when the game was around 80 to 90% complete. Which does indeed mean that the game is fully playable. Although, I've got to say, I don't remember the original Beehive Bedlam being free. I always remember playing the first 2 levels and then the pay screen would come up. Maybe they later made the whole game free, or maybe it was just free the whole time and I misremembered. So let me know in the comments, do you remember Beehive Bedlam being free? Alright, I've left you guys in suspense long enough. Let's take a look at the actual game. So here's the title screen and we're immediately met with a brand new bee. Gone are the crudely drawn MS Paint versions in the last game. Here we have a bee with a bit of pizzazz. Look, he's giving us a thumbs up and everything.
And well, I like the old crudely drawn MS Paint bee, but I also like the new cool thumbs up bee. But which is better? There's only one way to find out.
The game contains both Classic Play and Master Play, so let's start with Classic. Here we have a pretty basic 12 levels to get through. Play the 12 levels, try not to lose your lives, and aim for the high score. Pretty standard Beehive Bedlam affair. And then once you get to the end, you're told to play the Master levels. Because, as it turns out, this Classic Play was in fact basically just a tutorial. And the real meat of the game is in Master Play, which is basically the story mode. So let's find out exactly what that story entails. It's been a long, hard summer. Bees scattered throughout the land have worked hard making honey until their beehives are fit to burst. And it's time for the honey to be gathered so the queen can be fed and rewarded for, well, being queen. Yeah, take that monarchy, you've just been Beehive Bedlammed. The queen has sent out her best worker bee to collect and return as much honey as possible from all the beehives in the land. However, the beekeepers have other ideas. They want to keep all the honey for themselves, and they won't give it up lightly. The only way the beekeepers will share any of their honey is for someone to complete the tricky challenges they have set, and thus prove their worth. Take control of the queen's best worker bee and solve the beekeepers' challenges. Collect as much honey as possible and return home to the queen before sunset. So the beekeepers seem to be some kind of jigsaw-like characters, putting you through all these trials for seemingly their own sick pleasure. Also, isn't this kind of the same plot as Bee Movie? So putting aside the strange story, Master Play is actually really fun. You travel through the world map with each location having 3 challenges. and each challenge is pretty fun and unique. Stuff like complete the level in a certain time or with a certain score, or by using only a certain number of flowers. Admittedly, the score-based ones are pretty easily cheesed as you get an unlimited number of flowers, so I just kept shooting flowers into the corner to rack up my score. The one where you have to complete it in a certain number of flowers can be really stressful, but also really rewarding, as you have to perfectly strategize exactly where to put each flower. And some of the timed ones, I died so many times. I'd usually end up completing them with like less than a second to spare. And if you do lose one of the 3 challenges, then it will reset you all the way back to the beginning of those 3 challenges. So on the levels where I kept dying in the last challenge, I would have to keep repeating the previous 2 challenges, and it did get a little bit annoying. So I made my way through the world map, and I think it's really nice how as you get further through the game, the background does change, starting with it being all bright in the middle of the day, and then slowly turning to sunset and night. They also introduced a new power in this game, that being the flower bomb. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is unique to this game, and removes all the flowers of the same colour as the one it hits. So say it hits a red flower, all the red flowers on the screen will disappear. Unfortunately, this power-up only really showed up in the last couple levels of the game, which was a shame as it was really fun to use, and added a completely new level of strategy when you only had a few shots to complete the level. So I finished all the levels, hung out with the Queen a bit, and that was it. It would have been nice if the game had ended with a boss battle against the beekeepers, but I can't really complain as the game was a lot of fun and I definitely enjoyed my time with it. Although, something I've noticed about this game, and in fact every Sky game, is that there's no credits. So we don't really have much of an idea of how these games were made. So I got in touch with one of the original developers who worked on most of the Denki games, including this one, and I asked him a few questions about what it was actually like to develop these games. He told me that far from there being a large team working on these games, they usually consisted of 1 programmer, 1 artist, and 1 designer/producer on any project full time. And even then, Denki would often be working on between 5 to 10 projects at a time, so the small teams would be working on more than 1 game at once. And when I asked just how long it would take to finish one of these games, he told me that initially in the first year, Denki would spend around 10 weeks making a game, but then as time went on they managed to streamline the process by reusing a lot of the same systems and assets, so that in the later years, generally, they would spend just 2 weeks on smaller projects that were rebrands or reskins of existing projects, whereas puzzle games would take slightly longer, such as Word Crunch and Letterbox, which would take around 6 to 8 weeks. And in case you're wondering that there might be other cancelled Sky games that we just never got to see, then I'm sorry to say that there really aren't, as the developer told me that of the over 100 games they made for Sky, there were only around 2 that never got finished. The first being Beehive Bedlam, of course, whilst the second was a screen overlay puzzle game for one of the music channels, and that one got cancelled because Sky couldn't get all the licensing agreements in place. Sky surprisingly did quite well with their licensing agreements, which allowed for so many different properties to have games developed from. I mean, they got the license to make Shrek stuff, and DreamWorks don't just give that license out to anyone. He finished up by saying that he's quite pleased that there's a retro community growing around these games, especially one that remembers them fondly. And that's you guys watching, so well done for keeping this community alive. And thank you so much to Rich for answering my questions and for all the years of uncredited hard work developing the games that helped make my childhood. And I suggest that if you're a fan of Beehive Bedlam, and I mean, if you're watching this video to this point, you probably are, then I definitely recommend checking this game out. And it's free! You can play it right now for free. I'll leave a link to it down below. Or if there's any other Sky games that you've got fond memories of and want to relive, then I'll also leave a link to all the Sky games that are currently playable. And Aaron in the Discord server is still working tirelessly in order to get all of these games working for free for all of you guys. And I don't know what you're still doing here. Go play the game. Go play the game now. Click off this video. Go play the... Wait, actually no. Stay, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, then go. Play the new Beehive Bedlam game and show those beekeepers who's boss. I'll see you in the next video.
Now the characters faces from Shrek 2 are heading your way, with 7 fun faces of all your favourites. Get fun faces from Shrek 2 in special packs of Nesquik, Cookie Crisp and Golden Nuggets.